Greetings. This is Rhashea Lynn Harmon'El, and I am here to continue with Plausible Deniability, and I am this auto-biography is on my mind all the time. And the reason it's on my mind all the time is because I truly am thinking about just how absolutely full of dung my life is. That is what I have been thinking about. I've just been thinking because I have to think about, like the organization of everything, and in terms of how it is I want to present to you, and also how it is that I am organizing the book. And then also there are other things that are taking place in my life that I am working on, and things just seem to just be this whole concept of needing to work with other people, us not being able to do things on our own, even if we have the funds. It becomes not a fun issue, it becomes a people issue. And today, while I was recording, I went live for burglary or birthright, and I just have to say I am not happy. What I am seeing, what I am encountering is this, and this is what I came on here to just talk about, because this is not planned. Okay, this is not the planned portion of the book, but I said that I was going to start being more transparent and stop trying to be as controlling in terms of following the plan and just getting to you once the plan is together, and then going over, what it is that I have outlined, because that is usually how things are done. That is usually how I do things. And when things do not go according to plan, then of course it causes me to just lose my mind, whether it is contained internally or I just go boom. And when I go boom, no one likes that. No one likes that. That's when I become the enemy, and I'm just like the enemy. That's it. People don't understand what it is that I have always been striving for is just to rise above it all. Rise above it all. You can refer to that as me raising my vibration or whatever, but I do not see generational complacency. I do not see generational complacency as something that is worth being okay with. Okay? As human beings, I view us in terms of our value, based upon what it is that we can contribute while we are here, breathing, inhaling and exhaling the air, utilizing the breath that the Elohim has given us. And so when I encounter individuals, and I don't know why, the law of attraction would say that, I'm attracting certain people because this is what I am, putting out or what have you. Well, guess what? Through this process of me writing and audioing this book, this autobiography, that's one thing that is definitely going to have to change. If that does not change, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I really do not. I am not the type of individual to put blame on others, although I do understand that, yes, there are some nefarious and diabolical individuals out here who wake up with the intent to destroy other people. Absolutely do. That is 24/7 on their mind. And what it is that they work on. They thrive off making other people miserable. So I get that. However, for me, I don't, that's not a place where even if I'm thinking about it, where I want to stay for very long, because there's no productivity in that place. That's that's just scour and sewer. That's very, very low vibrational dealings completely. And for me, knowing my knowing my history, just knowing my history, I didn't have to think about that, but it was just like, sometimes when I say things, I find that I am being so repetitive. I'm being so repetitive, and so because I have said it so many times, I get to a place where I begin to pause before I say it again, because it's almost like encountering the same thing time and time and time again, and not really fully having that appreciation that you initially had when you had that encounter. And so what I am experiencing, which is why I had to come on, because in my mind I was just like, I usually just deal with things alone, but now, because I am doing this, I have this project that I have decided to take on. It is requiring me to no longer deal with things alone. And surprisingly, talking to a screen, okay? Because although my message is to be communicated to those of you who are out there, the viewers, I am talking to myself. If you have never tried this, I would highly recommend that you do this. Everyone. Because to hire a therapist to talk about the issues that I'm actually talking about and thinking about on a daily basis, because this is what my autobiography is about. It's about me. And when you go to see a therapist, you're talking about you, and you're talking about what makes you uncomfortable. You're talking about what causes you anxiety. You're talking about what makes you unhappy. You talk about what makes you happy. You talk about the people in your life who are who are causing issues. You talk about people in your life who are not causing you issues, and perhaps they are important. And essentially, that is what people do when they decide that they're going to write a book. It is a very therapeutic process, highly therapeutic. And I find that to be interesting, because there is a healing aspect of the book, and I keep saying that, which means that there is a chapter that is completely going to be devoted to the healing aspect of it. And as with anything, I, of course, in structuring and planning how I was going to be convey this story of mine to you. It was, of course, linearly thought out. But I'm starting to see things in a very circular manner. And it's like, okay, is it okay if I tell my story that way? And I think, like, for me, it is okay, because I'm telling my story, through the audio, and I'm memorializing it, which is going to be, of course, more in a more organized fashion. However, at the same time, my life is a pile of dung. And I say that not because it's not because of the things that I don't have. Okay? It's not about that. It is because I am looking at all of the time and the effort, and that includes mental, physical, and spiritual. For example, today, and I thought about sharing this with you guys, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So today I sat watching a movie. I think it was called The Unholy. And the reason I actually chose to sit and watch this movie, and I know, it's like, why was I watching the movie? I was watching the movie because I was actually trying to relax, but not really trying to relax, because I can't sit and just watch a movie. I have to do something. And so I was trying to figure out, how can I maximize my resting but also get something done. And you know that I'm taking ballet, and I have a private teacher now. I have private lessons again, but with a different teacher. And what I mean by that is, it's an instructor who I take classes with, but I have had private lessons before with a different teacher, and so now I am taking private lessons again, and it is my lessons are with my current instructor, Eva, who is absolutely, she is so kind. She is so kind. She is a kind soul in my life. I have some kind souls in my life. And what I'm going to share with you right now is just that I was just thinking how my life, what I have done is I have compartmentalized parts of my life. My life is not merged. It is like, this is Rhashea Lynn Harmon'El, or Silver Moon, the JC. And then this is Rhashea Lynn Harmon'El, the dancer. And then this is Rhashea Lynn Harmon'El, the daughter, I guess. The daughter, the sister, or sibling. I'm going to say sibling. The granddaughter. And then this is Rhashea Lynn Harmon'El, the rebel with a cause. Rebel with a cause, or at least rebel who thinks she has a cause. And so today I was in having deep meditation, internal consideration regarding the relationships that I have with people, and how every time I go to build something, I I I do what I should not do. And what I mean by that is, at the time, it's like, what is wrong with me? Let me stop speaking in fragments and just be transparent. Why? And you can't tell me it's about money because I pay people up front. Maybe that's the issue. But I just want to get it over with. It's like, if you tell me this is what your rate is, it's like, okay, here. But then when you do that, it's like, because I guess they have the money, they don't feel as though that they have to put the time into you or your project as they would put in the event that they were actually working towards actually receiving the money. And so I was just, instead of thinking about other people and how I am perceiving them, I actually started thinking about myself in terms of how I was operating as an attorney and how my clients perceived me, you know? And so I thought about that, and I was just thinking, like, wow, it really is very sad that things are the way that they are. And this is where I'm going to pick up, I guess, from where I was yesterday. And what I mean by that is, it's hard enough going out on your own and starting your own business in whatever capacity. But it makes it even more difficult when people intentionally target you, or they intentionally create barriers that will hinder your progression, your successful progression. And, I grew up during a time where giving up was not even a part of the philosophy, your constitution. It was not. I have encountered so many situations where I have paid the bill and I have not received the service. And I have encountered situations as an attorney where I have had clients who have paid me to do a job, and I have been inhibited, obstructed from giving my client the full service that they are entitled to. They're not entitled to my excuses, my reasons for not following through. They don't want to, it's like, whatever happens, that's between me and the individual or individuals who are hindering me from doing my job. But it's not for me to make that my client's issue. My client didn't sign up for that when they chose me to represent them, to advocate on their behalf. And so this is my mindset. This is my mindset. I also have the mindset that whatever issues I have, that they are mine to remedy. And therefore, it is my duty, it is my responsibility to deal with it, regardless of whether anyone else is willing to assist me, help me, whatever. And that is my constitution. That thinking is a part of my constitution. It is so deeply embedded in me to be that way, to think in that manner. And so today I was thinking about how I have this project, and I'm calling it a project. I have, since 2012, here in the Aboriginal lands that are under occupation by the United States, colonial operatives. I have been dealing with, I am in relationships with people who do not give a shit about whether I succeed or not. That is the truth. I sit and I see them, I contract with them and I see them working, using time that they should, because this was not planned, I don't even have anything that I have any water sitting here, because I need a drink of water right now. I need a drink of water because I need to calm down. Like, not that I'm upset, I'm not angry. It's just the level of frustration of just getting out here and not being a slave, not being a sheep, not being a yes individual, not having to kowtow to anyone. Anyone but the Elohim, the one you're supposed to kowtow to. Not to another being who was created just like you were created. What type of insanity is that? But that is what the majority of people want. That is what the majority of people do. That is who the majority of people are. And it is so I was asking myself, why does this even bother me? I asked myself the question. I said, why do you care if your people makes it back into the fold of commerce? That's what I'm going to say. That's how I'm going to put it. Why do you care if your people are no longer the tail, but they become the head again? Why do you care? Why are you working as if, that your individual efforts are contributing to what the masses will receive? You're like me, what I am going to benefit from this, I have no idea. In all honesty, I don't even know. Every day I get up, every day, I talk to Yah, I do. But the other thing that I think about, I actually wonder if, how long am I going to be here? that's what I wonder about. I wonder if I'm going to live through this. I wonder if I'm going to live through this. So when I started this audio autobiography, I actually said to one of my sorority sisters, Cree, I said to Cree, I said, I have to give you what I have, because if I am unable to finish my book, I want you to finish it for me. And that's what I said to her. So I don't think what people realize. I don't think people realize that what I do, just by me just knowing the truth, not knowing all of the truth, but just the little bit of truth that I do know, because I know I don't know everything, but because of the little bit of information, little bit of truth that I do know, and because of the education that I have received in this society's memberships that I had become a part of, that at any time I could be eliminated. I can be eliminated if that is the Elohim's will, if that is his will. And so every day I think about what it is that I need to do so that in the event that I am no longer here, that my efforts, that whatever it is that I do will be able to continue. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out though why it is that and this is going back to the conversation that I was having with Dr. R. Remember, Dr. R is my Pilates instructor, and I said to her, I was just like, what is wrong with our people? Why is it that even when I think that I have found, someone who I can work with, who's just gonna do right by me, it's like, if they were hard workers, it's like when they meet me, it's like they stop being hard workers. Like, am I like the bane of people or something? I don't know what it is. People, it's like, people. There's a chapter. I don't want to get too much into it, but like I said, instead of it being linear, it's like this: abuse. I've been thinking a lot about abuse. A lot about abuse. Yes, a lot about abuse and how people are, they're abusive. It's like, and how am I supposed to respond? How am I? There are some behaviors that I do not even deem worthy of me having to respond to. When I meet people and all I can do is just sit and just talk about how wonderful they are, and how, look at everything that I have done and what I'm able to do, but yet I am standing in front of you and I have paid you and you haven't shown me all of those wonderful things through your work ethics and work efforts on my behalf. I need you to work for me because I have paid you to do the work for me, to help me to grow. my business, my organization. Because it's not just for me. Like, that's what I'm talking about. It's not even like for me. It's like just the efforts. Just the efforts that I am putting into establishing something so that I can at least help out on an infinitesimal level. Whether, and that if that's just me, providing you with information, me serving as a consultant, to advise you on like what resources there are out there for you. You coming and seeking maybe assistance with maybe understanding a document you didn't understand. So you don't have to, get yourself involved in a situation that's going to be disastrous for you in the foreseeable future. Don't give up is what Donald Trump says. Yes, I am, and I am an avid supporter of of um, of continuing to educate yourself, and especially within strengthening your mind, okay, and providing yourself with the courage and the courage and the energy to exert the tenacity that is required to just keep going, even when you do not have the support, even when you do not, when people are advising you against everything that goes against that feeling that you have in your gut. And so when I ran for office, that year that I ran for office, I read Trump's book. No, it wasn't The Art of the Deal. People keep saying The Art of the Deal, The Art of the Deal. Trump has written many other books before that book. No, it was called, oh my God, what was the name of the book? I think it was called Think Big. I have to look back and look into that. Think Big? It may have been Think Big. And when I read that book, I know when I read that book, right, I was like, wow, this man is no dummy. This is a very intelligent, very strategic individual. So now, because I find myself kind of like in a situation where I'm like, okay, here we go again, starting over, new venture. We have the National, Indigenous Law Center now, and okay, this situation just happened with, the city of Philadelphia and its corrupt officials coming and evicting us from a second property that my family owns, a second property. All right. The first one was they evicted my father from his home because the water company allegedly had because this is what the water company is alleging, okay? My father says that he doesn't understand how he could have a water bill at such a high bill when at that time there was no running water in the house. So how could there be a water bill in excess of $3,000? And there had not been any water. I don't know where he was actually staying and bathing. However, if there was no running water at that particular address, why or how were they able to? We're not going to ask that question, strike that question. Why was there a bill? That's all. And so they placed the lien and immediately went to foreclose, sheriff's sale, on his property for less than $4,000. That is how wicked these people are. And it's the people. You have to remember, the corporation is a non-living, breathing entity. Non-living, non-breathing. It is the beings that are operating it, that are doing what they are doing, and they are stealing from the people. And so this unplanned recording, I don't know what to do. This unplanned recording it's just for me to share with you, not always in a planned state, actually what is going on while I am working on this book. It is this horrid process that I am going through in my life of having to deal with my own personal issues, you know, it's just, having that feeling of, I guess, wanting to cry and just not being able to, because one, what is crying going to do? And then two, what is crying going to do? Crying is not going to help the situation, and it's not going to make me feel better. So there's no point in crying, regardless of how I might feel, and that's probably why I can't. So that is pointless. And I'm just thinking how I just need a competent team. I just need some competent people who are hard workers. And so I'm reading another one of Trump's books, and he said, "Don't quit." Don't quit. Whenever I think about quitting, I find something encouraging to listen to. I even sit and meditate on encouraging myself, because quitting is not an option. You know, that is not just a slogan. Quitting is not an option. There is something in here flying around, a little gnat. Which is interesting because it's about, I think, 39 degrees outside right now, and you know, I have this aloe plant. I love plants. I do. I love nature. What I do not like is the bugs that come along with the nature. And I've tried so many things, and it just seems like no matter what I do, I'm just being sabotaged. So what am I supposed to do? You know, I started this project, and then I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like other books that I have started in the past and did not finish. I'm like, oh, well, I have to finish this one because, you know, this one is audio, and even though I may not have a lot of viewers right now, the fact is I've already uploaded it. I did my introduction. I did the part one, and this is go. you can't just stop and not finish. It's like starting a book and not finishing it. You have to read, you have to finish the book. You have to finish the book. It's interesting. I have a story there. You know, when I was in college, I don't remember the professor's name, but it was during a period where a time in my life when I did not like history. And it's not that I didn't like history. It was, I mean, hindsight is 20/20. I know what the issue is now, not knowing the issue then. But at the time, I thought that it was just that, oh, I can't stand history. No, it wasn't that I couldn't stand history. It was because it was the history that was being taught was not resonating with me. And so I was taking history in college, and my professor had assigned for us to read, I think it was titled FDR, but it was his biography about him. It was a good book. But how can I say it was a good book when I didn't read the whole book? This is what happened. So of course he assigned for us to read the book. And I distinctly remember, I remember where I was living at the time. I was living on Philadelphia Street, and my roommate was one of my sorority sisters, and she's the number 4. I'm actually number 5, so she's my roommate. And I remember laying in my bed, and reading the book sometimes. And I remember him, we had a test that was coming up, and we were going to be tested on a series of questions. And of course, there were going to be questions regarding this book that he had assigned for us to read. I have to look something up. I just remembered something. Because I was also thinking about how this particular professor's favorite cartoon artist. I'm going to share that with you also, because when he shared that with us, and then he also shared some of the cartoons, with us, this man's artwork. It wasn't really, well, yeah, it was the artwork. It was actually something that interests me. So I'm going to actually see if I can pull up some of his stuff. I can't remember how to spell his name. So there's that. Well, anyway, back to the book. Okay, so there's a test, and what I decided, I'm laying on the bed. I was like, oh, okay. It was like a thick book, right? History book, FDR, right? And I'm reading about like why they call him Teddy and all this stuff, right? So I decided because we're going to assess my character here. I decided because I did not like history, was not a favorite subject of mine, and that I didn't really need the class, so I was just going to be mediocre. This is a decision I made in my head. So I remember taking the book. We're going to pick a book. This book is titled The Rights of Indians and Tribes. Most of the books that I have pertaining to Indians, Native Americans, indigenous peoples, Negro, black, colored, they are all laden with stories about how the colonial occupiers have mistreated us, have intentionally discriminated against us, and how we are just pathetic as a people. That's my conclusion. How, as a people, as a nation, we are pathetic because they are only able to treat us the way that they treat us because we allow them to treat us that way. You do not see any other nation allowing no other nation to treat their people just any kind of way. If you mess with 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, you see the whole lot of them speak out against it. You don't see that happening with us as a people. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Pay attention to the signs. That's how you know. Indigenous people, colored, black, Negro, African American, Hispanic, we all the same. You know, we might be cousins or whatever, but we're all. Anyway, so this is what I decided to do. Let's get back to the FDR story, because he's coming up a lot in my research recently. And I am constantly reminded about how I did not read that book. But this is what I did after I made this decision in my brain. And I remember taking the book and going through and saying, okay, after the decision was, you only need to read the beginning, the middle, and the end of the book. How old was I at the time? I think I was like 21, 18, 19, 18, 19, maybe about 21 actually. I think I was 21. And so that's what I came up with. And who knows, there may have been a little demon sitting, well, he wouldn't be, whatever side he was sitting on. But I just remember that thought entering my mind, and then I reached over on the shelf, my bookshelf, which was right beside my bed. It's amazing how you can remember some things. And I reached over, pulled the book out, and that book was actually thicker than this book. And I began to do like this. And I separated the book into like beginning, middle, and end. And then I began to read parts of the beginning, parts of the middle, and then I went to the end of the book. And I'm being honest. I do not remember picking that book up again. We had our tests and the answers presented before me, and here it is. I'm thinking, I got the answers. I didn't sit there. You know how you read questions and you're like, I don't know the answer to that question. It was the questions for the book were in the form of an essay, and I was always a very good essay writer. And so for me, I was like, oh, in my 21-year-old brain, I actually thought that I knew enough from just reading the beginning, middle, and end of the book. And so I answered the question. And I remember, so I answered the question, all, confidently and I guess prideful and arrogantly in my 21-year-old brain and body. And sat there, took the test, left. Next class came back, and I just remember going through, my tests and seeing when it got to the essay part about the book, where the teacher said, you did not read the book. The professor. He is a professor. And I make that correction because, yes, there is a difference. When you, despite what people may say, the one thing that you cannot say about me, you will not say about me, is that I do not honor education. I believe, I don't like that word believe. I know that education, knowledge is power. I also know that disinformation or misinformation is dangerous. It is dangerous. And that is why what you put up here matters. Now, so many years later, I remember that moment. It is I need something to drink. I didn't necessarily want to drink that. I have, supplements that I use to revive me. When my body has been depleted. And because if I do that, then I'm up during the wee hours, and that is not my intention. But anyway, back to this professor, because this was a very poignant time in my life that ended up being replayed in my mind throughout my life regarding reading. And when you start reading something, that you are to finish it, or at least if you are going to talk about something, make sure you have read the entire, whatever it is that you are talking about, you're referencing. Don't just read part of it. And what I have learned is that people, when they start reading stuff, and attorneys do this as well, they don't read the whole thing. They do not read the entire document. You must read from beginning to end. You must, because otherwise your whatever your ideas are, your thought, they're fragments. How can you have a complete thought or opinion about something if you have not read it in its entirety? And when I was working for the Princeton Review, reading comprehension and teaching critical thinking skills, and there are just different test taking techniques that we used to help the student just to take the test. But in life is about you not taking any shortcuts. Life is about you not taking any shortcuts. And my professor, he was not a bad man, and he was not a fool. I don't know how long he had been a professor, but here it is, I'm 21. Like, how many other students did he have, who, I mean, it's like once you are, you're vetted, right? You're tenured. You pretty much know when, like, the students have done something and when they have not done something, regardless. And it's like, you can tell the bullshitters from the non-bullshitters. And we get to that point in our lives. And these relationships that I'm having with these people who I'm utilizing to get work done, some of them are BSers. And Donald Trump, he said in this book that I am reading now, I'm reading it because I need the encouragement. I don't have it coming from, the people I'm around. In fact, when I started going live and doing different things like recording, all of a sudden I wasn't even hearing crickets. Our people are so secretive. They don't want to talk about anything. Everybody is so afraid. They allow for, fear. It's fear. They don't want to be affiliated or associated with someone who is actually speaking out against what is happening. They don't want to be affiliated or associated with someone who's speaking truth. And I don't want to be affiliated or associated with people who are not speaking truth. I don't want to associate or affiliate myself with people who are wusses. Rendell wrote a book titled A Nation of Wusses. I don't want to be affiliated or associated with people who are wusses at all. Honor and integrity. That day, when I was going through my tests, and I saw what my professor had written, because he wrote it on my paper. You did not read the book. I remembered that. And when I think about plausible deniability, I think about individuals who are only interested in getting ahead and being rewarded for for work they didn't do. All they care about is holding on to their jobs, getting by, and being rewarded when they should not be rewarded. Plausible deniability. Instead of having honor and integrity. So I'm feeling, however I'm feeling right now, which is that I'm dealing with people who have no honor and integrity. And I want that to stop for myself. The National Indigenous Law Center is a center that is needed for our people, and I must surround myself with and work with people who also know that, who want to see the National Indigenous Law Center succeed. I'm not going to allow for anyone who intentionally places obstacles in my way or negligently place obstacles in my way to stop me. I will not quit, like Donald Trump said. I will not quit. It's unfortunate that the masses make decisions based upon information that they have heard through gossip, or information that they have read but partially read, and then they sit in judgment with their opinions of other people. They have become a nation of people who are taught what to think, but not how to think. I saw a billboard in my travels to Chicago about a month and a half ago. It just very quickly went by, but I read it. And it had to do with a school. And the billboard said, "We teach our students how to think, not what to think." Plausible deniability only works in situations where you are dealing with officials who have been taught what to think, but not how to think. This is how we have a society today of non-thinkers, people who just follow and they believe the mantra. A society that is taught what to think, not how to think. Read the whole book. Recently, in my research, I've been coming across a lot of things that have happened that were a lot of changes that transpired that affected indigenous peoples, and it was a result of FDR's New Deal. And guess what? I've been telling myself, you have to go and read a book that you wouldn't have to read if you had read the entire book when you were supposed to. I've been meaning to read that book, but guess what? In my research, there are many references being made to FDR and his New Deal, and for me, I must know as much as I possibly can know. And I blew the opportunity when I was 21, which would have prepared me for now. These are pieces to the puzzle. This is not the time to be lazy. This is not the time to sit and huff and puff because I didn't do what I was supposed to do when I was 21. My professor was correct. I did not read the whole book. But let me tell you something. When I read that on my test, I said, but I did. At 21. In my mind, I had read the book. Conditionally, I read the beginning, the middle, and the end. No. So I will be reading FDR's book. I have a lot of reading to do. Not just that book. I'm doing a lot of reading for my research, for the work that I do, and also for my book. Believe it or not, I'm reading up on things, because it's not just about getting up here and just having a conversation with you about what I feel. It's it involves, research that I'm conducting. There is research that is going into what it is that I am discussing with you, the story that is unfolding. Research has been a tremendous part of my life. I did not have the luxury of not having the complexion for the protection. So even the fact that I thought that I could get by just reading the beginning, middle, and the end, at this point of my life, tells me that if it wasn't for the professors that I had, for professors like that professor, and for the mentors that I've had in my life that have asked me, that have pushed me, I wouldn't be half the individual I am today. I think that I'm intense, but I'm not anywhere near where I need to be. Nowhere near. I want more for myself, because the better I am, the better we are. When I see my failure as a failure, my failures as a failure for our nation, I am letting my nation down when I fail. It's not just me, it's my nation. I'm looking to open doors, unimaginable doors, for our people. I have no idea like how they are living, how other people are living. And it's not about wanting what somebody else wants, but it's about doing our best so that we can have our best while we are here. We don't have to put up with the way that they treat us. We don't, but we do. We do. And their total apathy, lack of humanity towards our people is a severe representation of what I was exhibiting when I thought I could just read the beginning, middle, and end of a book and get over on a vetted professor. Yeah, I thought I could get over on a vetted professor. Throughout my educational career, I did not have one stupid, one idiotic professor. They may have been quirky or whatever, but my professors knew what they knew. They rightfully had those positions. They just did. I've received a very good education, and in all honesty, if I had had more support from my own community, who knows, how I would have turned out. Maybe I wouldn't be so alone now in my efforts to do whatever little bit it is that I can to advance us as a nation. Because I feel very alone. I do. But feeling alone is not a reason to not keep working. It is not a reason to give up. I'm just going to keep at it, and if as long as I have breath in me, because what else is there to do? What am I going to do? Give up and go get a job, go work for somebody else and die? Because we're all going to die. I understand some people don't call it dying and death, whatever you want to call it. We all expire. In this dimension, we do. And none of this stuff, I look at, I can't take none of this, I can't take none of that with me. All the things that, the colonial operatives have stolen from me, I can't take none of that with me when I go. Yep. They've stolen so much from me. Over $1 million worth of stuff. I have inventory of it. I file lawsuits. People call themselves giving me advice. Non-attorneys, law school trained people. You need to go do this and you need to do that. Not even knowing that I've already done or attempted, to do what they are suggesting. And there are some things that we should not do, because when you are a nation, you don't subject yourself to somebody else's nation. I mean, that's just, if you have to learn to stand on your own. And I mean, when you read, you know that. When you read. You gotta be thorough. Can't be slothful. I get on myself about these things, daily. That's, discipline. You have to be disciplined. We have to be disciplined. We must. You have to be disciplined to get up, and to get up daily at a decent time to go and do what you need to do when you have no one over you. That's discipline. That's discipline. To sit and read books about what it is that you say that you do. That's discipline. It's discipline. So, plausible deniability is not in my constitution. It's not a part of my constitution, and with it being the first, like, part 1 of my book, my memoirs, there's a reason why it is. And it is because I myself am searching to figure out why there's so much of it. Why? So why are there so many people out here who opt to go down that road, to utilize plausible deniability in the face of truth, in the face of undeniable truth? Why? WHY? And so with that, I think we're going to end here because, like I said, this was an unintended, and I will return, and I'm going to, because remember I said that I was going to pick up with continuing with reading the treaty, and some other things. But we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But this is a journey, and I do appreciate you. I appreciate you coming along with me on this journey, and we'll see. When the project is complete, we'll see what has materialized. And I need to get some water. I am very dehydrated. I apologize. But like I said, I've had this day for me has been a day of, like, deep internal meditating regarding these relationships that I have with people who I am looking to help move me forward, okay? And it's like, you gotta stop that. You gotta stop attracting these people. You gotta stop that. So that's going to stop. That is going to stop. We're going to stop attracting unwanted energy. We're going to work on that together. We're going to stop that. We're going to recognize plausible deniability. It's on our radars now. Okay? And your mind is going to start opening to the lies that people are telling you when they're lying straight to your face and denying that something happened when you know very well that it did. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And shalom. Peace. Have a sweet rest. And I'll see you soon.